So good afternoon. So welcome to the webinar, November webinar part two, regarding the workflow feature inside SmartUse. Not SmartUse now, it's built in Operate. So I'm Dominic. I'm the SmartUse founder. I sold the business to Stack back in 2021. I'm working here with Bruno, which is our specialist in software implementations for Stack. And Bruno is working in the construction industry for many years. So today he will present you the workflow part two webinar. So yeah, housekeeping stuff. So basically, participants will be in listen-only mode during the webinar. If you have any questions, you can ask those questions at any times using the Q&A button on the right side. If the question is really related to something that Bruno is talking right now, I will right away ask the questions. Other than that, we will end the end of the session, and we will keep, let's say, 5 minutes at the end of the sessions. And all the participants will receive a recording via email. So basically, if you were not able to attend the live webinar, so we will send you the recording by email. Agenda. So basically, we will do some kind of summary of the part one, the ones that we have done in October about the workflow part one. And this week we will look at mostly the workflow to track shop drying, which is something that our customers are doing on a day-to-day basis, right? Last part one, we have done the RFI, and now let's do the shop drawings today. We will show you how to manage workflow from the web portal, even if it's available on the iPads, also in iOS phones. But today will be dedicated to the web portal, and we will look at some configuration like tags, like discipline. So basically, this is what we will see today in the part two of the workflow feature of the Build and Operate product at Stack. Bruno, whoop, this is yours now.
Thank you, Dom. Good afternoon, everyone. So let me share my screen so we can jump right into it. So we are back on the web portal. So we're looking at the left menu here. We have our RFIs that we've showcased last month. And for this month's webinar, I wanted to take a little deeper dive into the settings available for our workflows. So there's a full tab dedicated to the workflows configuration here. So when we've selected, we've seen that we have 6 default workflows that are pre-configured for you to use. But if we scroll down a bit, I've built one custom workflow using an example of the one here by default. Doesn't have the same statuses. It doesn't match step by step my internal process to manage shop drawings. So we can look into this one here. So we've configured the name, singular, plural, and the prefix here. And if I keep scrolling down a bit, I was able to configure every statuses that we're seeing here with the name, status type, and color. And what I'm noticing here in our example, let's say I want to have a on hold status. My professional during the approval process of a shop drawing may take some vacation, maybe out of office. We have a situation where we know that we will not have any movement within a shop drawings request until a given date. I want to be able to put it on hold, so it's out of my head. I know that I don't have any actions required until a given date. So if I keep scrolling down here, I can add a status. Once I click it, I can name my status, which was not available on the default statuses. So we're going to call it on hold, and then decide we have our status types. We have 4 status types that we can choose from. Can be a drafted status. By that, it's usually the first stage of a workflow. I simply fill in the form. I want to document that there will be a shop drawing. If I scroll back up here, I have a shop drawing that is required. I'll input all my shop drawings at first as a list as soon as I receive it, but it doesn't mean that it needs to move or I don't have to start working on it just yet. So with my drafted status, we don't have a number generated for this task in particular. There's no notification that are generated when it's under the status of the drafted type. So it's really pending. It's not in motion yet. That's where our open statuses will come into play. Now we start notifying the assignee. We'll do an overview of the notification settings available in a few minutes. But that's where it's live, it's active. I want an update. I'll reassign those, change statuses. As you can see here, most of my statuses are open. When we reach the end of the process, we should stop the notification and know that the request for shop drawings, for example, has gone full circle. I have my final shop drawing here. If I use that statuses as an example, our final version of the shop drawing has been uploaded into Stack. I don't need any further action. It's then closed, so the notification will stop. We will also document the first time it's under the status open, and once it's at the status closed, we'll have an open date, close date, so we can evaluate the turnaround and know exactly when it started, when it ended, basically between those dates. And if for some reason, as part of the shop drawing list that I received from the GC or my professionals, down the road, we get to a point where this shop drawing won't be required anymore. It's not completed. It's basically canceled. So we still stop the process, the notification, but it's basically interrupted mid process. So we have a void status here that is a bit of a catch-all for every shop drawing request that would no longer be required. So those are the 4 statuses types. And the last field that I can edit is the color that I want to see for that status. On hold, blue doesn't quite make much sense. I'm going to use a very passive color since I already have a good array of color here. I'll just put it in gray. So it's not catching my eye. It's on hold. I shouldn't put any attention or effort into it. The order that I'm seeing here will be the order from a drop-down menu when I want to change the status. So on hold doesn't quite make sense to have it last. So what I'm going to do here on the left here, I can simply click and drag it up to where I want to see it. It's probably something like that here would make sense. So I went through the exact same process to create all of those statuses to match my internal process that I was trying to mimic here. All I need to do now is click Save Projects, and I'm going to find that new status available in my shop drawing workflow here. Before moving to the shop drawings workflow, let's take a closer look at the notification settings that are available here. Under the Notifications tab, I can find my shop drawing workflow here. If I open my options here, they're separated into, I have notifications for the assignee and the created by, raised by notifications. So for my shop drawings, I'm going to be the one creating those. I want to receive a notification for all those type of events. I want to stay on top of it and make sure I can react quickly whenever there's a new comment, so I can track the status and make sure it's on par with the reality and the progress of that task. But here, Dominic is going to be the assignee for our example. So I'm going to cut him some slack. I don't want to spam him. I'll basically keep the reassign notification, but I will not send him a notification if I change the status for him. The due date, of course, he should know about it. And if I add some comments, I do want him to receive a notification. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'm happy with those configuration. I can click Save Project again. And finally, something that we've covered briefly last month, we have our disciplines. If I scroll all the way down, so we found our usual suspect for disciplines. I can actually add one. And let me give you a little example of how I can use it here. So we'll be expecting a shop drawing from, let's say, a compressor. Dom is my HVAC guy, so I have mechanical right here that I'm going to use, but I want to go one step further and make sure I can easily filter all my shop drawings that are expected from his company. So let's call it Dom HVAC. I'm going to click Save. So that part here is completely customizable based on what I need. Now, if I go to our shop drawings workflow, I'm going to go ahead and click Create. Then our first status here will be the first one in line that I configure under settings. So it's required. And if I open the statuses here, we'll see exactly what we were looking at, what we've configured here with our on hold in the same place that we've exactly where we placed it. So obviously I would start by describing. So we said what we're expecting here. So we're looking for a shop drawing for a compressor. I would obviously add the details, the description, more information, just fill in the blanks here so he knows exactly what we're expecting. Again, already say this is Dom who's going to be in charge of the first step. And we're just a bit lower here under additional information, I have my disciplines, and that's where I can say we're talking about compressor. It's definitely mechanical, but it's also Dom's company. So when I have 10, 12 shop drawings requests that I've sent Dom's way, I can easily filter by the discipline that I've used as tags here. So I'm going to enter a due date here real quick. And move to that part here of the form. We have our related items. We were hoping to be able to present you a new feature with the related items. Unfortunately, our product team will still need a few more weeks to make it available, so stay tuned. But what we're going to have here is the ability to link a document from outside of Stack. It will be linked solely to that shop drawing request. So as of today, if I want to link a document, well, right now I would assign and make it active. So it's assigned to Dom. We have a requested shop drawing with all the details here. Right now, he would send it to me by email. I would upload it into Stack. And let's say we went through that part already. I can link an existing document under shop drawing, and we'll find, we have a mechanical example here. I can link it. That's what we're looking at right now, as of today. With the attached file, and it's going to be available. I've heard mid-December is what we're looking at. Dom would be able to actually attach a document to the shop drawing. We can go through the whole process of getting the shop drawings approved, and only then, so we might need a bit of a back and forth and revisions that I don't actually want to. I want to keep track of those, but I don't want to make it available to all my teams out in the field. So I can attach it to this shop drawing request, and then only when it's final stamped and fully approved that I can upload it into SmartUse. I'm sorry, Stack, and take it from there. So a few weeks, and this options will be made available for all the pro users of Stack. So back to my list here, I can show my disciplines right here. And if I scroll a little here, I'll be able to filter based on what's available. And let's say, show me everything that's related to Dom HVAC. So Dom might be more than one in his team. So might have different assignees, but it's still related to Dom HVAC. So I have an extra layer here of tags that I can use. So back to the settings, there's a little detail that will all make sense, all tie up together quite nicely. We've changed a few weeks back when I create a new project. We used to base the new project from the organization settings. We've steered away from that and will now be using only an existing project, so that we should have a template that we're going to reproduce the settings from. Part of what we will reproduce will be our issue settings, all the workflows configuration, so my custom configurable workflows that I have here, and which one is toggled on and off will be reproduced as is. So I configure it once, and then in a template project, and can reuse that template project on and on and on for all my following projects. Same thing for the notifications settings here for both the issues and the workflows. And finally, we'll do the exact same thing for the project fields. So everything we configure here from our template project, I won't have to configure again when I use this template project to create my new projects. So this was pretty much the overview we wanted to do with you today. As a part two, a bit of a deeper dive into the settings and how we're seeing it moving forward. Dom, do we have any questions or comments?
Yep. One of the attendee asked why they don't have access at all to that workflow feature. Is there any way to activate that, or what is the options here?
Absolutely. Both workflows and daily reports are part or included in the Pro plan. So this needs to be activated through your customer success manager or account manager. It might not be clear to everyone who's your account manager. If that's the case, there's the question mark right here, and you can chat with support, ask for a callback from your account manager, and we'll make sure to reach out in a timely manner and answer all your questions. So step one, reach out to your account manager.
Good. Another one is there any way to add to start a workflow directly from a specific locations on the drawings, like they are doing with issue trackings today inside the product?
Great question. As soon as we're done with the attach file here to a specific workflow, that's basically priority one in terms of features for workflows. So it's basically next in line. We want to make it easier. Obviously, today's example of shop drawings, it's mostly, I would expect it to start and end in the office. It's a good thing that out in the field, they can see where we're at in terms of retrieving those shop drawings. But for RFIs, that's definitely a use case that we've seen, and being able to either pinpoint it on the plan, the exact same thing that we're doing with issues right now. And there's also another feature that we're looking at to make it seamless and as easy as possible when it comes to generating an RFI out in the field, or any workflows for that matter. So coming soon, yes.
All right, thank you. Yeah, another one question that just came in. Can someone, because right now we look at the shop drawings workflow, and sometimes with the shop drawings workflow, we are working with external people that not necessarily have access to the SmartUse product. So is there any way to ask people to be part of a workflow without having a SmartUse account, or they should have a SmartUse account? So how it works?
They should have a SmartUse account. We have different business models that will include restricted license. That's a great use case for those. If we're talking about a general that will provide a license to their trades team, that's a great example here. So we would have the possibility of the capability of assigning those workflows to those types of users. If that's not the case, let's say we have a smaller company, 2-3 user stack licenses. They're keeping things simple and internal. We can actually still use for shop drawings, for example. I'm going to keep it assigned to myself. I want to keep track of who's doing what. I will most likely use those tags so I can know exactly who I've sent it to. But what I can do here is actually generate a PDF, and we'll have a clean cover page of all the information we're seeing here, and anything that's attached, or link to the document, will also be part of the PDF that will be generated. So I can send it out and still use Stack to track in a more efficient way than an Excel spreadsheet would allow me to.
All right, it's clear. Last questions that we got is, you show us how to customize the discipline, right? So when you had the HVAC subcontractors, so if I'm using the same HVAC contractors in multiple projects, do I have to redo all these configurations everywhere, or is there any way to export and import settings, or how it works?
We decided to steer away from importing and exporting. What I would highly recommend doing is creating a few template projects. Like we have an example here where I'll go through the settings once, and I could have multiple projects that I use as a template. If I do different job types that will need different workflows or different folder structures, for example. But when I create a project and select an existing project as a template, it will reproduce all my settings from features, documents, issues, and to answer your questions, also workflows, notifications, and project fields. So I can simply adjust from my new project. So I'll give you the opposite example here. If it's not Dom HVAC who won the job for HVAC here, I can actually say it's not Dom, it's another company called Susie HVAC. So within my new project, it would copy all my settings from my template, but I can also edit them. So it's a bit of best of both worlds. I'm not stuck with my template settings.
All right. So templating is the way to go in the future.
Absolutely, yes.
For importing. All right. I think that was the last question. So thank you very much, Bruno. And so basically, thank you very much to be here this afternoon. So basically, all the participants will receive a recording by email. So even if you were not able to attend this live webinar, so you will receive the recording by email. If you have any questions, right away you can go to the chat. We have the chat available on the web portal and from our website. And there is also a lot of trainings materials available on the website. So just go there and you will see a lot of training materials there. So just go there, and if any questions, just go to the chat. Our support teams is there to answer all of your questions. Stay tuned for the next year's Slack Live. So we don't have any webinar in December, right? But for beginning of new year, just stay tuned, and we will send an email to attendees and users and customers to see the next webinar. Thank you very much, Bruno.
Thank you, Dom.
Thanks. Have a nice afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye.